sweetest in the hill is heard, and sore must be the sore that could ablash the little bird that kept so many warm.
Good morning. Hi. Welcome to First Parish in Needham, a Unitarian Universalist congregation of humanists, theists, atheists, agnostics, seekers, and interfaith families. To learn more about what's happening here at First Parish, you can go to our website, uuneedham.org, and sign up for our weekly email newsletter, or follow us on social media. Our order of service, which is usually online, was messed up today. So I just made a few copies, maybe, one for each row or something. I don't know. I'm supposed to sing in the choir, but okay. So don't look at that order of service today. Okay. But if you have accessibility needs or questions, please talk to our ushers and greeters or Zoom hosts. At First Parish, we covenant to live out our shared values and the inherent worth and dignity of every person, respecting the earth and co-creating beloved community. My name is Gail Lehman, and to me, this truly is a beloved community. We are coming together this morning and always to help each other. Besides generally singing in the choir and participating in some other activities for over a decade here, I've had the privilege of being on the pastoral care team. We make calls and visits and send letters and emails. The caring crew volunteers provide meals and rides for short-term needs. There is joy in giving, making a call once a month, checking up on a friend, providing a meal or meal voucher once in a while. These are gifts to the receiver and to the giver. We'd like to invite all of you who could use an uplift of helping others to join in, not to join the team, but to get in touch with each other. And we'll have more opportunities offered for that coming up. If you'd like to sign up for an opportunity now, Would all the pastoral care team members who are here stand up, please? And you can contact one of us today or anytime. Thank you all. As our covenant says, we gather as a loving community to encourage and comfort one another. We are all a part of this blessed community. Whoever you are, whoever you love, whatever your background or identity, whatever your age or stage, whether you walked or rolled in, you are welcome here, whether you're here in the building and online. And we're so glad you're here. Welcome. If you need, raise your hand or something.
And for our folks online, we can't print anything for you, so I suppose good luck, Godspeed, go with. As we light our chalice, symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, we read words from modern Spanish Unitarian lay leader Jaume de Marcos in English translation. In this solemn moment, when voices subside, when silence can be heard, we light this chalice for all who preceded us and also all who will follow us. We light this chalice for those who made possible that we are here today, because in spite of their failings and limitations, a dream moved them to light a chalice, as we are doing. And we light the chalice for those who will burn a flame when we are no longer, when they will renew the light full of hope and enthusiasm. This light shines for all of them, for those who came before and for those who will come later, and for us who are living in between, linking past and future together. Our opening hymn, We Give Thanks, was written by Unitarian Euro-Canadian singer-songwriter and minister, Reverend Wendy Luella Perkins. We're especially pleased to welcome our new assistant music director, Chris Lockman, to accompany this hymn. Welcome, Chris, and welcome back from your many times visiting with us. Now please rise in body or in spirit and join in singing We Give Thanks twice through. The lyrics are in your orders of service and on screen and at number 1010 in your teal hymnals.
In the Unitarian Universalist tradition, the covenant is a set of promises the membership of a congregation strives to honor with one another and out in the world. Whether we participate in our community online or in the building, we strive to live these promises every day. Please join me. We gather as a loving community to encourage and comfort one another. We gather as a diverse community to support each other in our search for spiritual truth. We gather as a service community to live our beliefs through action and care for our world.
For today's multi-generational service, I will need your help throughout the service in finding wonder boxes hidden around the sanctuary. Inside each is an object or two that we need for the service to continue. So I'm wondering if anyone out there sees a box with the number 1 on it. Anyone? It is out there. You do? Where is it? Yay! Vivi, could you come up to the lectern microphone and then describe to us what you have found in the box? Yeah, in that box. Yeah, well, you got to go to a microphone, though, otherwise no one can hear you. Go, go, go. All right. All right, Vivi, what do you see?
A fox stuffed animal.
A fox. Excellent.
Corn.
Corn. Yes.
A fox and corn story.
A fox and corn story. How interesting. These are things that we need to tell our story today. Vivi, you don't have to if you don't want to, but would anyone, we need 2 volunteers from the congregation. Do you want to be one of them?
Sure.
Do you want to be fox or corn?
Fox.
You'll be a fox. Would somebody in the congregation be willing to be corn today? Ah, you guys can come up. Oh my gosh, the Sklarwitzes would like to be corn today. There's actually 2 corns, so that would be just fine. Do you want to come? Yeah. All right, Vivi, can you give one of those scripts and the corn to your friends? Exactly. And then you 2 will need to go to the other microphone. Yonder. No, not that one. Oh. Would one of the adults there make sure that microphone is on? Oh, thank you, Laura. Rafi is moving the microphone better than any adult in this congregation, so we can actually hear him. Thank you, Rafi. Okay. So we have corn, we have a fox. Oh yeah, Vivi, do you want to stand on that thing? Speaking of microphones. Okay. Well, thank you all. You'll see in a moment. We'll get to the story in a moment. So, I will tell you about the story we are about to read. This is the tale of the harvest feast shared by the newcomers and the Wampanoag people in 1621. The newcomers arrived in what is now called Plymouth, Massachusetts, and they colonized the ancestral homeland of the Wampanoag tribes. At the time of the first Thanksgiving, many tribes lived in the area, and in this story, the authors call them the First Peoples, because they were the first to live on this land. The Wampanoag have taken care of their land and tended to their gardens for at least 12,000 years. This book is called Kipunamuk, which means time of harvest. There are some other Wampanoag words and concepts in the story. Wampanoag, which means people of the first light. They do live in the east. Wiachamun, which is corn.
Corn.
And Wetu, home. And I wonder for all of you here, do you have other languages that are spoken in your homes? I learned a bit of 2 Indian languages, Hindi and Kasi, when I lived in India, and my mother, who's here today, speaks Italian and Portuguese quite well. How about in your families? You can put it in the chat, or if someone wants to shout it out here, I can repeat it in the microphone. What other languages are spoken in your homes? German? Anyone else? Some Polish? Yeah. Spanish? Turkish? It's a lot of diversity, globally and locally here at First Parish. And so one last note on this story, and then we get to begin. The book is framed by Nokomis' grandmother telling her grandchildren their ancestors' story of the first Thanksgiving. But this is not the ancient Wampanoag telling of Thanksgiving. The authors note that their side of the story has been lost. This book shares a new story that honors traditional Wampanoag understanding about the sacred relationship between Wiachamun, corn, and human beings. I'm also thrilled to tell you that this book was really hard to find in our Minuteman library system, not because there weren't a lot of copies, but almost all of them were checked out. I drove to one library and it had been checked out 20 minutes earlier. They had to call another library nearby and they're like, she's coming to get it. So many thanks to the Dedham and Westwood Islington librarians for saving me this week. Let's begin our story. One frosty fall morning a long time ago, a large boat with white sails approached the shore. Weachamun stretched her weary ears toward the sky. Who are these new people, she asked. Fox looked up at Weachamun.
Should we trust these newcomers?
Stay close and watch what they do.
Fall turned into winter. Weachamun and the other plants fell asleep, and Fox watched the newcomers come ashore. He watched as they made their way into the forest. He watched them enter an abandoned Wetu. He watched them take a cooking pot and a basket of Weachamun's seeds.
Don't take us away. We are waiting for the first peoples to come back in the spring to prepare our beds. We must grow first.
But the newcomers could not hear the seeds. Their ears did not know the voices of the land. Fox watched as the newcomers searched for food, but they could never find enough to eat. Many of the newcomers lost family during the long, cold winter. The first peoples watched as well. For many years, others had traveled across the sea to hunt, fish, and trade. Some were friendly, some were not. And these new people seemed different. They were here to stay. Winter turned into spring, and Weachamun awoke from her long slumber.
I thank the Creator for another season.
Weachamun and her sisters, Beans and Squash, pushed through the ground and reached toward the sky.
The newcomers are hungry. They took Weachamun's seeds, but we don't know how to help them grow.
We should help.
Her sisters and the other animals agreed. Deer reminded them,
We agreed to feed the people. In return, they care for the home we share.
I wouldn't. The newcomers don't know our world.
but Rabbit said,
Sometimes new people can seem scary. The Creator tells us to help all living things. This is how the world works.
It's settled then. We will send the first peoples to help the newcomers. I will send them a message in their dreams. Bring me and my sisters, the newcomers. They need help.
I wonder, how do you all take care of those in need? Through First Parish or on your own? What are some things you do to help those who are hungry and hurting? You could put into the chat or say aloud here. What's something you do to help others who are in need? Donating and volunteering at the community council. Thank you, Ginger. I see you. Yeah. Buying pie in the sky. Did someone else buy a pie? I sure did. Yeah. From community servings. What's that? Making meals. Bringing a meal and visiting. Yeah. Raking and shoveling. Yeah. Just spending time with them. The gift of presence. Caring for Boston's homeless, 20 years with the generic ministry. Thank you all for these ideas. Let's get back to our story. The first peoples listened to Weachamun. Their leaders visited the newcomers and could see they wanted peace. Spring turned into summer, and the first peoples showed the newcomers how to raise Weachamun and her sisters. Soon, Weachamun's seeds pushed through the earth and climbed into the sky. Beans wrapped around Weachamun's strong stalks, and Squash stretched her vines across the ground, keeping Weachamun's bed cool and moist.
My sisters and I are brimming with food. These newcomers are grateful.
Kipunamuk had come. The newcomers prepared a feast to celebrate their first year in their new home. The first peoples were invited, and they feasted together for 3 days.
Many Americans call this a day of Thanksgiving.
But many of the first peoples call it the day of mourning because the colonists brought disease and warfare that continue to take our lives of many indigenous people today. Even today, first peoples fight for their rights as sovereign nations to practice their traditions, make their own laws, and live on their homelands.
Here ends our story. Could we have a round of applause for Fox and Wiachaman? Thank you all so much. You can go back to your seats. If you want to keep hanging out with the corn or the fox, that's also fine. I have one last question for you all here in the building and at home through the chat. Can you help me remember, what did we learn from this story? What did you learn from this story? What? Did anyone learn anything? Yeah. We need to honor whole stories, not just myth. That's great. Yeah. Different people have different perspectives. Sharing. Thank you, Samki. Yeah. We all need to help each other. Yeah. Thank you all so much for your attention and your participation. May we carry the lessons from this story in our hearts and allow them to teach us new ways of being and doing together. This congregation has been supported by the volunteered time and treasure of its members and friends since its founding in 1711. This is the time in our service when we, the modern stewards of the church, offer what we can to build and sustain the congregation and the world we envision. For the month of November, our collections are being split 50-50 with the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee, or UUSC. The UUSC is the merged social service organization of the Unitarian Service Committee and the Universalist Service Committee, both founded during World War II to help those escaping Nazi persecution and supporting relief efforts after the war. The symbol of our denomination, the flaming chalice, was originally the symbol of the Unitarian Service Committee, and today the UUSC supports justice work through local partners around the world with a special focus on grassroots human rights work abroad and legislative advocacy here in the United States. To donate to today's offering, you can use one of 3 different methods as described in detail in your orders of service, if you have it with you. It also will be on screen, using our text to give through the number 73256, donating through our website, uuneedham.org, dropping cash or a check into the collection plate, or mailing a check to First Parish. Whichever way you donate, remember to specify whether your donation is meant for the plate collection or for your annual pledge. And if this is one of your first visits to First Parish, we encourage you to fill out a yellow card that should be in your pew back, drop it in the collection plate, or fill out our online visitors form, which is still working. Order of service isn't working, but the online visitors form and many other parts are still working at uuneedham.updates.church. And many thanks today to Leslie Ross Degnan for the beautiful flowers this morning in memory of dear friend Tony Bertolo. Thank you all for everything you are able to give to help support and sustain this congregation and the vital work of our community partners. May the ushers please come forward. Thank you, choir. Is there anyone of any age out there who sees a box with the number 2 on it? A 2, a 2. That's you. You know where it is? Yeah, please. And yeah, the things they didn't fit in there. It's fine. Thank you, Bob. All right, Bob. What'd you find in there? Okay. Oh, you got to move the microphone. You're tall. Yeah, you don't need that. Ooh. That's right. Maybe it's in there. Maybe it's in there. We'll find out. I hope so. Ooh. Mm-hmm. The striker. All right, Bob, I'm going to give you a tutorial on that in a minute. That's how I do that at all. All right, you're telling me. Thank you, Bob. So, Bob, could you bring me, actually, can you take the, so we've got a bunch of trans flags there. We have our 3 trans candles. So I'm going to ask you to give me the singing bowl and the striker, to put the 3 candles in front of our floral display on the right, because there's glass there in case they drip. And then you can hand out the flags to anyone in the building who would like one. You have a lot to do. You have to hold it on your palm all day. Bob, what? You gotta hold it like this when you're gonna strike it. Just, for the future.
I'm a slow learner.
It's fine. You put those over there. And would anybody like to have, we have 10 trans flags in this box that already didn't fit in there. And then we'll have more later, which I'll describe. Bob's going to start passing them around.
Okay.
Thank you, Bob. Tomorrow, November 20th, is International Trans Day of Remembrance. Euro-American trans activist and writer Gwen Smith founded this day as a candlelight vigil in San Francisco in 1999, commemorating the life of African-American trans woman Rita Hester, who was killed not far from Needham in Allston, Massachusetts in 1998. Hester's murder received little media attention at the time, but now we say her name every year on November 20th. Honoring Trans Day of Remembrance is one way our denomination, the Unitarian Universalist Association, recommends that we demonstrate our long-term faithful commitment to LGBTQ rights and inclusion. Our ministerial intern, Dara Bryans, and our sponsored candidate for ministry, Ellie Del Valle, will join me in hosting an interfaith Zoom vigil tomorrow night at 7 p.m., where we will say the names of those in the United States who have died in the past year. This is the 7th year in a row that First Parish did this solemn event, either in person or online. What are some of the other ways that we show our support for trans and genderqueer folks and LGBTQ people more broadly, both personally and through the church? Who has some ideas? How do we do that? You can type it in the chat, you can shout it out here. We had a march. We had a 5-day march from here to the Congregational Church. That's right, we hosted with the Congregational Church the Needham Has Pride rally, march, and party. We've done that now 2 years running. It was wonderful. Thank you. What else might we do? Listen, and we support out Metro West. Yeah. We welcome LGBTQ people in our congregation and have since, is it 1996? Someone can correct me. That's right. We love our LGBTQ friends, we love ourselves. And if we hear something out in the community that is wrong, offensive, hurtful, we rise up to correct it. We rise up to support. Doing our welcome renewal program. Thank you for that segue, Susan. So And we fly the flags. Oh, there's one right there happening right now. Oh, they're all right here. Thank you. There's another way that you all can help today. Speaking of renewing our welcoming congregation commitment, because we've been doing that for a long time at this point. One of our welcome renewal team members, Liz Rover Bailey, needs a team of helpers after the service, probably during social hour, maybe you can get a treat, go outside. We're going to be putting out 68 little trans flags like these, and a couple of lawn signs that describe why they are there. We can thank the Sklarwitzes for, on Friday night, putting out a new banner as well in our front. Yeah, thank you so much. These flags and signs will be a public way we honor Trans Day of Remembrance, and it would take Liz a really long time to do it all by her lonesome out there, especially because we don't know on the shady side of the church how frozen or not the ground is. It's going to be very exciting for us to find out. Is anyone willing to help her after the service? Go out front. Liz, these are your team members here. Thank you all. Thank you. Now, I'm going to light our trans candles, and while I'm lighting them, please begin to settle into your bodies for a time of prayer and meditation. Become comfortable yet alert in your bodies. You may want to be seated with your eyes closed or standing and gently moving your body without bonking into anybody else. You may want to grab a fidget from the vestibule. However you can best settle into your body. Remember to breathe deeply in and out. The blue one's given me a little bit of a hard time this morning. We'll work on it again later. We begin with a moment of quiet as we ring our singing bowl. This moment of quiet before we get to our prayer is in mourning and compassion for the scores of Gazan Palestinians who are being killed every day. We especially remember those who were in the ICU in Al-Shifa Hospital. And we also mourn and have compassion for those from Israel who are still being held hostage. May our voices and our efforts be ones for long-lasting peace and justice. Words from Trans Minister of Color, Reverend Sunshine Jeremiah Wolf. On this eve of Transgender Day of Remembrance, we remember those who have been murdered for being who they are, who face violence on a daily basis, those who have lost loved ones, and those who worry for loved ones. May we come to a time when we cease to shame children around gender roles and expression, where we allow for freedom and exploration of identity and expression, into a world that operates from love, especially when things are difficult and confusing. May all of us who live with the threat of violence find support, strength, community, hope, and safety from violence. Let's take again another deep breath together in memory, hope, and commitment. Breathing in and breathing out. May we work together to co-create such a future. Amen. Please join in singing our meditative response, How Could Anyone? You may remain seated. We'll be singing it twice through. The lyrics are in your orders of service on screen and at number 1053 in your teal hymnals.
How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul.
Thank you all. Now, is there anyone of any age out there who sees a box with the number 3 on it? Vivi, have you just been looking for them? Come on up here. You know the drill. You're coming up to the lectern mic. You're going to tell me what you see inside the box. We got to move the step stool back. All right, what's in there? You're okay.
We have crayons.
Crayon packs. Ooh,
More crayons.
more crayons.
And even more crayons. More crayons.
Is there anything else under the crayons?
More crayons.
Okay.
And then coloring sheets.
Ooh, excellent.
So
Yes, autumnal coloring pages and crayon packs, potentially borrowed from the vestibule. As anyone in our congregation who participates in Creative Escapes or Zentangle can tell you, art is a wonderful spiritual practice to help us focus our minds and charge our creativity. Today's coloring pages are on the theme of gratitude for the fall harvest. What kinds of spiritual practices do you do that help you maintain a thankful spirit? Clearly one of them is coming to Sunday services, but what else do you do? Singing. Baking. Walking in the forest. Ooh, we do love nature. No. What? Somebody said something here. Meditating. Thank you. Praying. These are all very good. Thank you. Our last Wonder Box practice is a guided meditation adapted from Black civil rights theologian, preacher, and educator, Reverend Howard Thurman. Again, you can make your body comfortable but alert in whatever position is best for you. You may also want to take a coloring page and a crayon pack. Vivi, could you go and distribute to anyone who might want? I see a few hands. People of all ages. There's more complex ones. There are less complex ones. If Vivi runs out of crayon packs, there's more in the back. I'll also ring the singing bowl a few times throughout the meditation. So let's keep your hands raised if you want one, because otherwise Vivi's not going to see you. But let's take a deep breath in and out together. And you can open your imagination as you reflect on these words from Reverend Howard Thurman. Let the images and memories come freely to your minds, and then let them go. Today I make my sacrament of thanksgiving. I begin with the simple things of my days: fresh air to breathe, cool water to drink, the taste of food, the protection of houses and clothes, the comforts of home. For these, I make an act of thanksgiving today. I bring to mind all the warmth of humankind that I have known. Maybe my parents' arms, the strength of my relatives, the playmates of my childhood, the wonderful stories brought to me from the lives of many who talked of days gone by when fairies and giants and all kinds of magic held sway. The tears I have shed, the tears I've seen, the excitement of laughter and the twinkle in the eye with its reminder that life is good. For all these, I make an act of thanksgiving this day. I linger, one by one, on the messages of hope that awaited me at the crossroads. The smile of approval from those who held in their hands the reins of my security, the tightening of the grip in a simple handshake when I feared the path before me into the unknown. The whisper in my heart when the temptation was fiercest, the claims of appetite were not to be denied. The crucial words said, the simple sentence from an open page when my decision hung in the balance. For all these, I make an act of thanksgiving this day. I pass before me the mainsprings of my heritage, the fruits of labors of countless generations who lived before me, without whom my own life would have no meaning. The seers who saw visions and dreamed dreams, the prophets who sensed a truth greater than the mind could grasp, and whose words would only find fulfillment in the years which they would never see. The workers whose sweat has watered the trees, the leaves of which are for the healing of the nations. For all this, I make an act of thanksgiving this day. I linger over the meaning of my own life and the commitment to which I give the loyalty of my heart and mind, the little purposes in which I have shared my loves, my desires, my gifts, the restlessness which bottoms all I do with its stark insistence that I have never done my best, I have never dared to reach for the highest, the big hope that never quite deserts me, that I and my kind will study war no more, that love and tenderness and all the inner graces of divine affection will cover the life of the children of God as the waters cover the sea. All these and more than mind can think and heart can feel, I make as my sacrament of thanksgiving to thee, Spirit of life and love, in humbleness of mind and simplicity of heart. Amen. You're welcome to come out of the posture of prayer and meditation, and you could help me remember in the chat here in the building, what are the sorts of things that we are thankful for? What did Reverend Thurman say, or what came to mind for you? What do you think? What are we grateful for? Community. Family, food, books, indeed, memories, sunshine, music, thank you all so much. I'm deeply grateful for all of you. Our closing hymn, We Sing Now Together, has a likely familiar 17th century Dutch folk tune and modern lyrics penned by 20th century Unitarian minister Edwin Burer. Some of you may recognize this song as the traditional one from The West Wing. There's a whole scene about this particular Thanksgiving song. Please rise in body or in spirit and join in singing We Sing Now Together. The lyrics are in your orders of service on screen and at number 67 in your gray hymnals. We sing now together a song of thanksgiving, rejoicing in those which the ages have wrought. For life that enfolds us and helps and leads and holds us, and leads beyond the goals which our forebears once sought. We sing of the freedoms which martyrs and heroes have won, whatever their sorrow and pain. Their masses befriending, our ever hopes defending. Their death becomes a triumph, they die not in vain. We sing of the prophets, the teachers, the dreamers, designers, creators, and workers and seers. Our own lives expanding, our judgments implementing. Their deeds have made immortal their days and their years. We sing of unity now in our making, in every far continent, region, and land, with rules of all races, all times and names and places. We pledge ourselves in covenant, firmly to stand. As we near the close of our service, let me share with you some of the upcoming events here at First Parish. After the post-salute, all are invited to social hour, both here in the building and on Zoom, or out with Liz to set up our Trans Day of Remembrance display, or both. At 1 p.m., our Caregivers Support Group is meeting online, and as I mentioned before, First Parish is hosting an Interfaith Trans Day of Remembrance Vigil at 7 p.m. tomorrow on Zoom. Our Fleet Feet Walking Group is also setting out once again on Wednesday morning. Some of our regular Zoom groups will not be running this week due to the Thanksgiving holiday, and the church office will be closed both Thursday and Friday. Please check your bell notes for more information. Our book group will still be meeting next Sunday on Zoom. Dara is leading our service next Sunday with nursery care available. If you have a child who is enrolled in religious exploration or youth group, or you would like them to be, and you haven't heard from me about our plans for the rest of November and December, for as long as Sarah Elizabeth is on leave, please email me to let me know as soon as possible. I won't know unless you tell me. Lastly, and some of you have heard this already, but just so everyone knows, less than a week ago I received the good news that I'd been granted a visa to India so that I could attend the wedding of one of my oldest friends, whose family is my Indian family. I will be in flight or in India from the evening of Saturday, November 25th until the evening of Friday, December 1st. And I will not be checking email while I'm in country. Also be 10 and a half hours ahead. Please do not try to call me. I look forward to seeing all of you at the Sunday service on the 3rd. You can contact me if there's an emergency, but just so you know, I'll be elsewhere. We always extinguish our chalice with words promising to carry its flame in our hearts until we are together again, no matter how long it is until we are all together again. Please join me from home or here in the building in saying those words written by UU Minister Reverend Elizabeth Sally Jones. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, nor the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. As we close our worship today, take these words adapted from Chicano writer and professor Alberto Rios with you as a benediction. From those centuries, we human beings bring with us the simple solutions and songs, the river bridges and star charts and song harmonies, all in service to a simple idea, that we can make a house called tomorrow. What we bring finally into the new day every day is ourselves. And that's all we need to start. That's everything we require to keep going. Look back for only as long as you must, and then go forward into the history you will make. Be good, then better. Write books, cure disease. Make us proud, make yourself proud. And those who came before you, when you hear thunder, hear it as their applause. Our service begins when our service ends. Blessed be, and amen.